Hey, good evening, guys. It's Jason here, one of the pro traders over at TrueTrader.net. I'm a former market maker, been around the business since the early 90s. Everybody knows me as the Goose in the chat room. This is the Midweek Watch. Hope you guys are liking what I'm putting out here. And I try to keep this to about less than 15 minutes long. We'll see how it goes today. I think it should be okay. But if you guys are liking what you're seeing on this Midweek Watch, please leave a like. Make sure you guys leave comments. I do listen. I do answer questions in the comment field. And make sure you guys subscribe so you know when we're putting out more content. Ricky does a Sunday prep every week. Every week he does it. This week he was doing a seminar, so he didn't put it out, but I'm sure that was a one-time occasion, and he'll be back at it on Sunday. And it is always money. It's awesome. So make sure you tune in this Sunday for that as well. Just want to give a quick shout out. We had an incredible weekend over here at TrueTrader.net. We did a Spartan race together where over 60 members showed up and we ran as a team. It was a weekend of just absolute blast. And I just want to thank everybody at TrueTrader that participated. It was an amazing group and it was an amazing time. And thank you, Adriano, Benito, everybody that else put this together. It was a real blast. It was up there in Georgia. And for you guys that ran the race and all the members that participated, it was absolutely incredible. So thank you for that. And I'm sure you'll see pictures start floating around soon about that as well. So let's get on with the important stuff, which is always the disclaimer, right? The important stuff. So TrueTrader nor its representatives nor myself are registered as a security broker-dealer or an investment advisor with the SEC or any state regulatory authorities. We are not licensed nor qualified to provide investment advice. Listen, this is all 100% for entertainment purposes only. Please treat it as such. Do not follow me. Do not copy me. Always have your own plans and own ideas. It's just to get you inside my mind and for educational or entertainment purposes only, okay? So let's start off and talk a little bit about the markets here, guys, and dive right into this. So if you guys have been listening to my Midweek Watch over the last 3 weeks, I've been talking a lot when it broke through the 50-day, it holding the 126-day, which is a 6-month moving average. And you could see that this is a picture of the SPY, and it did just that. It held, and then most recently, it's kind of shot up, and we've had about 6 or 7 trading days in a row where the market's kind of, been green for us. So, what I'm looking for in the market, first of all, the first point I want to make out is these technical things work. Okay, there's no reason to panic. Okay. Obviously, it broke through. You had to wait, and I'm not suggesting that the market is not going to come in. I'm going to touch base on that. It's just the idea of not to get into panics when you get these pullbacks. We're almost, we're back towards highs again, and look at how fast that happened. We had all this, 2-week or 3-week period where it felt like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's breaking the 50-day. It's breaking lows. What are we going to do? And then all of a sudden this market turns around like this, and there's never a reason to panic. The market's been going up my whole life, okay? And I think it's going to continue to do so. So that all being said, came back down, touched the 126, which is also this, support from in here, but came into the 126 here. Never broke it really, came up and held it, and it's back above the 50-day moving average. That 50 days, that purple line there. Qs look very similar. I'm going to give you my thoughts in a second, but just to take a quick glance at the QQQ. Again, the Qs are also above the 50-day moving average. Now you see a little bit of a curl. Remember, I talked to you guys. If you go back and you listen, I talked to you a little about. I like to see a little curl in that 20-day moving average, which is this light blue line. See it starting to curl back up here. What I want to see is that 20-day to pass through the 50-day. Now that might take a few days. Let's take a look at the SPY and see how that's looking. You see the curl on the 20-day here as well. I want to see that reclaim that 50-day, and then it gives you my trend back, for me at least. Okay, and see that 20-day pass through the 50-day. You got them all lined up 20, 50, 200, or 126, then 200, and we're back in action for some moving forward, moving ahead. What I'd like to see actually to let you know is when I see 6-7 days in a row, what do you think I'm looking for? I think it's an obvious question. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback. Things don't go straight up. They never have, never will. When you get 6 or 7 days, I'm not a bear. I'm not looking for this market to do a correction or anything like that. But I'd love to see a couple days, maybe this week or towards the end of this week or early next week. With some of those couple 100-point down days where things take a little bit of a breather as we're moved into earnings season now. So we'll see how it plays out. But that's what I'm kind of hoping for as things are starting to get again more extended and it's getting a little bit more challenging out there when they get extended like this. So that being said, let's jump into some ideas and end with the market chatter and get into some ideas. So the first one I'm going to talk about, why not? Let's talk about NDAQ, NASDAQ. All right, this is one that hit my chart. What I put on this was a long off 194.55 as an intraday trade. 194.55. 194.55 is a monthly pivot in the 50-day. It's right down in this pocket right here. It's definitely an area of interest for me. I think it's oversold. It's been a real strong trend, as you can see with this name. Here, I'll drag it back a little bit further for you guys. Actually, I could do it this way. Let me make sure I do this. Auto scale. And you could see how it looks. So the 50-day right here to blow it up. This purple line's the 50-day. I want to see it come right into this area. It was down, I think, 10 points today at one point. So we'll see if it has a little bit of follow through to the downside. Right off that 50-day, and that monthly pivot should be good on that. So that's what I'll be looking for on NDAQ. Next name in my list is going to be NUE. NUE, I am looking for a long off 102.50. And that is going to be the prior low and the 126 day. Now, when I say prior low, just to make sure that you guys understand, it's not to the penny. It's in that general area, because you could see right away the prior low and the 126 if I zoom in. It doesn't match up exactly, but it's in that general area. So I wrote down 102.50, which is right above the 126 day, and that's what I did with that. Okay. What the note that I put on this is that it's clearing this 104.50 area. Okay. And I think the 50-day is going to be a magnet for this. I think it's going to clear this and move right up to the 50-day is my thought process in this. But 104.50, if you see, if I put my mouse up here, if I blow it up even a little bit more up to you, you can see the 104.50 area. That's that line that it cleared. I'd like to see it come back, test one more time, and make another leg up. I'm not sure it's going to get all the way down there to that 102.50 area, but that's the area that I'd like to see it. So that's NUE off 102.50. Next name is going to be Caesar, CZR. And I wrote down a long off 110.50, and that's going to be a prior low and a monthly pivot area, okay, which is right in this pocket right here. It's already blown up. I'm going to zoom out in a second for you, but this is the area right here that I'm looking for. You can see that orange line. Don't let it throw you off. That's just an alert I had set from a couple days ago. But 110.50 prior low. What I'm looking for, I wrote down the notes as far as the prior resistance holding support. This is a support right now, and this is prior resistance. Just as a note for you guys that are a little bit newer, prior resistance usually equals new support. Okay, so when things break through resistance levels, which is right here, it'll become a new support level, which, as you can see, if I were to draw a horizontal line or just put my mouse here, you can see how that prior resistance has become new support for the stock. Okay, so that's on CZR off 110.50 for a long. And I'll get zoom out, and you can just see it's had a big move recently on Caesar. Okay, next one is going to be ZI. Okay, ZI, I think the stock is setting up for a breakout was my notes on it, but I'm looking for a long off 67.15, which is the previous day's low and the monthly pivot. When I say previous low, because you guys are going to be watching this in the morning, I'm talking about today, by the way. Sorry about that. I always just have a note of previous low because I look at it in the morning, and that's the notes to myself, but it's today's low and a monthly pivot. Just want to make sure I clear that up for when I do these midweeks. I always say previous low, but I'm not talking about yesterday. Okay, so prior low and a monthly pivot. I think it's setting up for a breakout, and that's why I want to be around in this name. And I'd like to see it hold this today's low and this monthly pivot. So I wrote down a long off zoom info 67.15. All right. This one is a sweet chart that I'm going to show you next. I wrote down IPG. It's a tighter stock. It's not got a lot of range to it, but man, when I see this line up like this, I always got to put it down as a level to look at. So this is IPG off 37.25. Let me zoom in and tell you what I'm looking at here. When you see a prior low, 50-day, a monthly pivot, even a little bit more support in that area, it kind of makes me a little bit excited that if for some reason tomorrow it does a quick drop, I'll be around. Now this has dollar range, so you can say, well, why would you trade this thing? Why even put it on the list? Because sometimes the risk is so tight. If it does a quick drop in the morning, and I could pick it up at that 37.25 area, which is right at the 50 in the monthly, and risk 20, 30 cents for 90 cents or a buck or $1.20, that trade makes sense to me. It's a 4-to-1 trade or a 3-to-1 trade. So that's why it makes my list if you guys are curious. I know it's not got a lot of range. It's not a sexy 5-point range where you could let a third fly. But it is, to me, a nice risk-reward trade if it does see that level. So watch IPG along off 37.25. All right, now switching the candle a little bit here for a couple shorts. So IBM, let's talk about IBM. IBM reported after the close, and they were not impressive numbers, okay, to me. And I just want to make sure I clarify this. And I know I read my disclaimer at first is I'm giving you my opinion on the numbers. Okay, you guys that want to dive into them more, no problem. But I'm just telling you what my opinion is when I say that. And I felt the numbers were definitely unimpressive. I'm looking for a short on IBM up into 139.70. Now we're gonna have to see how it opens. It's gapped down to 135.80 is where it was post market today. But we'll see if it pushes up in that area. I wrote down a quarterly pivot, a 50-day, and a whole number right in here. You see this? This is where I'm looking at. Let me blow it up for you. And this is the level I'm looking to short it into for pushing up, but it also has the prior support area, which becomes what? Prior support equals new resistance. So that's what I'm looking for again. I just want to keep saying the same thing. With unimpressive numbers, I think this could be a really nice fade tomorrow. So on any kind of strength, ideally for me, 139.70 area. But this might be a nice one to join as well for a fade. All right. That's IBM. Let's see where we're at here. PPG. Okay, PPG, I wrote down a short off 160 spot 40. Okay, and this is one 160 spot 40. This was a little bit tougher one for me to find a spot on this, but what they did is they cut their guidance and it had this run into earnings. I have a feeling this is going to give a nice fade tomorrow, which happens to be the previous close, that 160.40. I thought that, seeing it at 158, I thought this 200-day was a little bit too close. So I went up to where it closed right into this, 160.40 area. It might be 160. I might bump that down to 160 as a whole number there. But it's really close, and the range it's a $3 range, but it might be a little too close to put that 159, 160 area. It's only $1 away, so I put in there as a G2C, which is gap to close type play. See if it after the gap down, it makes a quick push into the previous close for a nice fade off 160 spot 40. Okay, again, I thought the numbers. I think they were okay, but they cut their guidance, and it had this big run right into earnings. So I think it's going to end up giving a nice fade tomorrow. So that's why it made my list, okay? I say okay like you guys are going to respond back, but I appreciate it. All right, two more. Next one is going to be LVS. LVS is another short that I'm looking at. This is the one, again, it's a little bit tighter name. It's not got, $3-4 range in it. So I bear with me on it, but this is one I put down a short at 39.80. And what I wrote down there is there's a 50-day, you got a whole number in the previous close. Okay. So that's what we have on, Las Vegas Sands, a short off 39.80, 50-day, 39.80. You can see the 50-day right here. You got the previous close. Or as well as a whole number, and to me the earnings were rough. I'm thinking this fades all the way back and finds its way back into those 35s, and that's what I'm thinking on this. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The range isn't huge on this, but I could see this staying heavy and fading back into those 35 areas. We'll see what happens tomorrow on this one. So last one, I was actually kind of excited to put this on, and I realized I put it on last week, but I'm putting it on again this week. Just because of today's action. Okay, I was watching this today, and I don't want to. I'm watching this name close. I'll say it like that, and it bounced right off that monthly pivot at 60.85, and it got bought up real fast. Closed above 62 today. I want to see tomorrow any kind of weakness on CHK if it comes in. I'm looking for a long off 60.85. Which is today's low and the monthly pivot. And I'm just going by today's action. I know I had it on there last week, but it's one I want to put back on here again this week because I love today's action off that 61 area. And why not, if it comes down there again, to play it the same exact way, okay? So this is a really nice one. Bounced right off there today. Really loved it. And I'll be watching it like a hawk tomorrow to see if it approaches that same level as it did today. So that's it for today, guys. For my list, hope you guys are liking everything I'm putting out. If you do me a favor, leave a like, and make sure you guys leave comments. I hope you guys can come check us out over at TrueTrader.net. And in the meantime, you guys trade safe and trade your plans, and you guys have a great night. I appreciate you all. Thank you, guys.